language, which is English. And to start off, I call upon the clerk to administer oath or affirmation to introduction of the committee and the secretariat. Today, we will now ask them to introduce themselves. Honorable members, that marks the end of my opening remarks of this exercise.
James Kanunda, member of this committee, and also the leader of minority.
My name is Elizabeth Mutingi, a member of this committee.
Clerk, and it will.
I'm Esther Musau, Director Legislative, Committee Clerk to this committee.
George Mutuku, Research Officer.
My name is Janet Atuzagwe from the Legal Department.
My name is Penina Mukali from the Sergeant at Arms Department.
Who else? We are members of public. Media.
For the state.
Members of fourth estate, are they present?
Good morning, my name is Peter Dambuki, journalist working for KBC.
Good morning, I'm Morris Mativo, working for the NFA. Thank you.
Clarence Kong, Sergeant at Arms.
Very well. Mr. Kilu,
Yes, sir.
we will request you to that you will also give us your introduction in terms of your professional development from the earliest to the latest. You may proceed.
I began my profession as an intern, public health intern in Machakos District Hospital before proceeding to the Division of Malaria Control in Nairobi, where I was involved in malaria control activities. And this where first I interacted with huge management of personnel handling the famous island malaria of the late 90s and early 2000s. Further to that, I've also worked with Population Services International, where I was a national training coordinator for HIV and malaria. That was before joining the Kenya Red Cross Society, where I've worked from management to senior management in the sector of water, health and disaster management, before now venturing slightly into politics for a year or so, and then back to public administration, where I worked as a chief officer for health and sanitation, water and irrigation in Kitui County. Currently now I'm working as a I've just concluded my assignment as a position. I was chairman for the Public Health Officers Council in Kenya from 2013 to 2014. Chair is also putting the indexing of students from Form 1, from first year all the way to training, to internship, and then examination before we can license them. Number 2 key is this: we did accreditation of all universities in Kenya, undertaking the training of public health officers for our country, and I can say and management in terms of the institutions that were offerable even to close some of these institutions. And thirdly, and also most important, is the senior most public health officers in this country was capped at Job Group M, and were able to discuss with the Public Service Commission and revise this. For Kenya Red Cross, where we are working cross-range managing staff, volunteers, to manage some of the disasters in this region. The lower region for Red Cross.
I've followed your testimony on your academic development and professional development, but I have a question for you. Listening to your experience and academic development on epidemiology, you're working in Red Cross, working as a chief officer in the county government of Kitui, the Department of Water, a political advisor, that you refer to Section 55 of the County Governments Act on the public service and its objectives. How is your academic knowledge and professional experience, as you have indicated, related to Section 55A, which is to provide evaluation and reporting on the values and principles of to Article 10 and 232 of the Constitution are complied with in the county. Refer to Article 10 and 232 of the Constitution are complied with in the county. Public.
Good experience. I've been working in sector that involved managing the various resources that were at disposal.
Program coordinator, the mentor initiative, the Ministry of Water, the Department of Water, the Tree County Government from 2018 to 2023, and a political advisor. Now that, as academic knowledge, how does that experience, in my view, I want to see the relationship between your experience in Broad Cross, political advisor, chief officer, its relationship with the objectives of the public service. Now, the responsibility of the Public Service Board is to manage the public service, and the objectives, and as I've read to you, is to provide evaluation and reporting and the extent to which values and principles are referred to Article 10 and 232, and to provide organization, staffing, and functioning of a county public service in ways that ensure efficient, quality, and productive services for the people of Makueni County. How does your experience relate to this report?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, when I look at my experience and how they relate to the said objectives, this draws me to actually the roles of the County Public Service Board, or the roles that I'll be able to perform. as a chair, and one is really giving leader within the board will be able to do. Further to that, there is also the issue of assigning staff or officers to act into some of these offices that we have set. And the key to this is also the performance, setting up the culture of performance contracting, whereby we are looking at the overall service provision to the board.
And then lastly, have you in your career practice been involved in management of human resource development, staffing, recruitment, supervision, promotion, disciplinary committee, and an overall management of human resource? Because this is what I'm seeing here is more technical than human resource management. And Count Public Service Board responsibility, and particularly that of chair, you are chairing a board whose responsibility is to manage the welfare of public service and how that public service is transformed for purposes of offering services in the county and the people. So have you ever been involved in that? If yes, fine. And if not, no, then what then will you do given an opportunity to execute? Because that is a gap, in my view, in your CV versus the job ahead of you.
Yes, Chair, I will give 2 examples. While working at Kenya Red Cross, I was involved in human resource management, from recruitment of recruitment of staff and volunteers, induction of these staff and volunteers, management in terms of if there are any promotions or confirmation, performance contracting again, issues around management, the salary wage bill and all that. So I've been involved in this. Number 2, when I was the chief officer in Kitui County, I was involved in recruitment of personnel, where you are looking at the staff establishment, looking at the need gap, the HR plans within the department, setting intent and setting them to the County Public Service Board, and getting approvals from the Treasury that the required budgetary allocation for either promotion, for training is available, and then proceeding to work with the Public Service Board to ensure that staff are promoted, designated, and also issues to do with training. So, Mr. Chair, I've heavily been involved in personnel management at both local level and at national level.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. To start with, welcome
Thank you.
this vesting, and feel free to share with the committee what you have. To start with the Chair, I'm not sure if we are talking to Benjamin Kioko Kasamba
you very much. I think I'll start with the last one. We mentioned that none. I'm not sure that these. I've only been involved in active review for the Governor's Manifesto. As we all know that we almost midterm of these. The governor has been in office, so we've been working with the on how to achieve the overall agenda by the end of the five-year term. Number two is actually re-engineering how their needs are going to be. Felt and a bit of vibrancy in terms of ensuring that time is not lost, and some of these are looking at the political temperature. And you know the political understanding, trying to get between the residents of Makueni to be on one page. Thank you. If the name was not there, so I did a deed poll, and now that's when I got a new ID with Benjamin Kioko Kasamba Kilu. Thank you.
Thank you. We now understand on the case of.
Come on, record.
We now understand that.
In the case of, the political thing you did in 2017, would you wish to amend what you have indicated? On the floor.
List all memberships and offices held in and services rendered, whether compensated or not, to any political party or election committee, if you've ever held a position or played a role in a political campaign, identify the particulars of the campaign, including the candidate party at the present. Your answer is none.
I think that is what I amended.
Not amended. When?
Oral
What you have said,
is different from that. That's what I'm saying, and I asked the member I had requested that if I can amend that.
but the question is, why I listened to him ask you question,
Yes.
and then you indicated that you have participated in political activities before. But the information on our record, you had indicated that you have never.
Yeah, and my understanding for that, if I
So
may,
the question is, it's like if you substitute your certificate for the university now with another one from Moi University, and then a bachelor's of public health, and you say, no, sorry, I want to substitute that document with another one for engineering. The original engineering one is a genuine, for example, withdraw the other one. Because this is a process that began, and it's a vetting and the document on record. You have indicated that you have never participated.
I think, Mr. Chair, just for clarity, is when I looked at, especially now affiliated to our activities, office, you have heard, I've never had heard any office, I've never been involved, but now, me as a candidate, yes, I've been involved. That's what I'm saying now, looking from the question from...
Which you say it's clarified.
Yes.
But further to that, this question is not related to the candidate only. It includes even indicating whether you are a member of a political party, which is your right. Because it's asking, list all memberships and offices held in and service rendered, whether compensated or not, to any political party or election committee. Membership, offices held, and services rendered to a political party or an election committee. 2, if you have ever held a position or played a role in a political campaign in your life, this is not limited to anything. Identify the particulars of the campaign that you undertook, whether actively as a candidate or as an agent, including the person or the candidate you reported, the dates of the campaign, your title or responsibility in that campaign. You are a candidate, you are an agent, you are a supporter. Also include any linkage you have to a political party at present, which means at the moment, are you a member of any political party?
Yes, I'm a member of Wiper Party.
Then also include any linkage you have to a political party at present. You have denounced your party.
No, I think for Chair, I may seek your intelligence. Now with that kind of clarity, I think the amalgamation of the many questions, I think that's what led to a bit of, you can see even in your narrative, you're even injecting some work. So with your intelligence, I can make amendment to that section.
But
I pray.
The document is already submitted, so I do not know whether we have a provisions for amendment to that document. And then too, you earlier indicated that just concluded assignment as a political advisor. When you are making your introduction, you use the word concluded assignment as a political advisor.
Yes.
You have since concluded you are no longer a political advisor?
No.
You resigned?
I resigned a month ago and even served my notice.
Yes. Do we have a copy of that document?
Not with me now. I can check with the governor's office.
Yes. Fair enough. Thank you.
Thank you, Bwana Kasamba. I'm James Kalonda, as you know me. I will not take a lot of time because it's a person I know, Kasamba from our place. Then, because I looked at the documents, I have an issue with the document to do with the DCI clearance. I saw it was cleared on January 28th, 2025. I thought it should be within 6 months.
It's 1 year.
There are two?
It's 1 year.
It should be 1 year?
It's 1 year. Unless
we need to recheck that. The Secretariat will lay up with that, because I understand it's normally 6 months. It should be within 6 months. It's not a yearly thing like KRA compliance and such. It should be within 6 months. The clearance should be within 6 months. Now, Mr. Kasamba, you coming in, if we give you an opportunity, because the governor has nominated and communicated the same to the assembly, and our role is to vet and do a report to the assembly to pass or fail you. If this committee recommends to the assembly that we need to have the governor appointing you to this position as a chairperson of the board, and now that you've worked also with the governor for quite a while as a political advisor, do you understand the balance you'll have to people promising? We've seen candidates promising a lot within 100 days, even presidential candidates and the governor candidates and others within 3 months or 100 days. Others within 3 months or 100 days, what they will be able to do. Can you enumerate? Maybe you can enumerate and give us your targets you'll have within 100 days to achieve as a chairman of this board. Number 2. Number 3, I hope I will not ask too many questions. You know, Honorable Speaker, sometimes I may...
The first question was on KRA. No, not KRA. Certificate of Good Conduct.
yeah, I think for DCI I checked is 1 year.
Where is it indicated that is valid for 1 year?
In the certificate, second page, unless I did not attach the second page.
It's documented, and Honorable Kalonda has indicated 6 months. I don't know where both of you are getting that narrative. This document reads, police clearance certificate hereby certify that the fingerprints recorded of Jen Benjamin Yogo Kiilu, Kasamba, or anyone else holder of ID XYZ have been searched in criminal records officers database with or without previous records. The validity of the information in this certificate is as of the date of issue. So this certificate is valid up to us at 20th of January 2025. Where are you getting the period of 1 year? And where are you getting the period of 6? That the validity of 6 months?
Yes, like I had indicated, you know, we expected the latest data with the DCI for you, which according to me, for my convenience, I wanted to be within 6 months. But since the nomination happened within like a month or so, I expected that to be within at that time, because the validity is up to that day when it has been searched. If we search for you, the clearance. Yeah.
Now,
Can I
proceed with the second
finish?
question. You have 2 more questions.
Okay, I think that the first question now becomes the second question was on the issue of independency. I am aware that the County Public Service Board and the chair, County Public Service Board, is independent of any political affiliations or directions, and especially trying to be independent of the executive. And Mr. Chair, it's also good to note that during my 10 years experience with Red Cross in management and 4 years in governance, one of the principles of Red Cross independence. So I've operated in an environment where independence and is practiced most, that you are not alluded or you are not attached to one party or the other, but the decision you make are really independent and add value to the body and the institution you are representing.
Some weight in that because sometimes too independent and not to even listen to the county assembly nor the other appointing authority, who is the governor.
I think
So I wanted you to show us how you will strike a balance between being independent and also helping the county government of Makueni, because we have seen we have really suffered because I was part of the people who brought the current board. Then after we brought the current board, they were not even able to oblige themselves into the appointing authorities, who is jointly governor and also the county assembly. Sometimes they even bring the reports at their will when they wish. They can bring. So those are things. Thank you very much.
Honorable Kalunda, unless you are able to produce any statement you have requested in the county assembly or non-compliance of the County Public Service Board, I'm afraid that will become the personal statement. It can't be for the county assembly of Makueni, unless you have personal information that you can demonstrate as such.
We are helping.
Two, we are not here to help a candidate. And then two, we are not here to help a candidate. And then two, the candidate is speaking to the independence of officers. Now, what is your question on what has indicated?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Chair, I think the candidate is full aware of whatever now I'm speaking to. And I think we can just go to the next question. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Chair, I think just to respond to that and looking at when the member tried to expound the question, I think there is a difference between being independent and also working in isolation.
Yes.
Because as a county public service board, one of the roles is really giving direction and advisories to the executive. The other role of the county assembly and as per regulation is actually submitting regular reports to the county assembly. So anything deviation from that, then it cannot be stated to be independent. That is now malfunctioning. We also have the Salaries and Remuneration Authority. We have the Public Service Commission in Nairobi. We have national HR policies and regulations which we have to adhere to, we have to comply to, and we have to consult and engage and even ask for advisories. So I thought the first question was political affiliation, but then it has now moved to how to function within a complex of other institutions that are interested and are involved in the management of the County Public Service Board.
And the first question was simple. Being immediate former political advisor to the governor, which is a partisan position, not a public service, not a county executive committee member. It's a partisan. The question was very simple. How do you restore the confidence of the public that you will work as independent as required by the law, but not continue to work as a partisan officer or personal?
Then I behave and conduct myself now. Then I behave and conduct myself now as a chair of a county public service. Are not a political advisor. So is the functionality for that. Number two, I want to do a staff audit to look at the really skill match and skill set versus the skills that are deployed. Honorable Chair, it may not belong to most of us that we still have copy typists in our payroll, telephone operators in our payroll, to look at the really skill match and skill set versus the skills that are deployed. Honorable Chair, it may not belong to most of us that we still have copy typists in our payroll, telephone operators in our payroll. This is issues about redesignation, staff rationalization, but this can only come out with a proper staff out will be able to address issues to do with increased performance by our staff, motivated staff, and also now making sure that we have a workload analysis and a workload balance, that the amount of money we are putting into our workforce equates the amount of workload that comes up for the benefit of the people of Makueni County. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. About to finish, but as he was also indicating on 100 days, he has spoken to a fact which will need budgets. Some of the roles he is speaking to may even be delegated because we may not have the resources to do that. It's a big challenge for you to also associate whatever you are envisioning to the resource baskets around county public service board, because you may even be demotivated to find that there are no monies to do all that you want to.
So have you approved?
Number two, no, I'm
just a minute. Have you approved the candidates?
That's why I started with if we approve.
Yeah. It's up to him within the 100 days to tell us how we get resources. Now that there have been no resources,
that's why I'm challenging him.
If the accounts have no money, we want the chairperson who will ensure that there is money. So we don't want another one who will come crying over. So you should have asked, if you know that there are no resources, you should ask him within that 100 days.
I didn't want to exhaust my time. That's why I just put it for him to maybe answer as we go to the next one. The last one, because you want to be successful, as we've heard and listened to you very keenly. You want to be very successful. Can you give us the benchmarks you want to associate with this success? Then the last one, board members. Sometimes there's a big debate about full-time board members and also part-time board members. What is your view about the same? Because most of time people want to, and the bureaucracies want to have the chairman being the only person who is full-time, then the rest being part-time. But it's a big debate. We don't have a position for the same right now. You need to also maybe give your comment about the same. Thank you, Honorable.
Full-time and part-time. And members can serve on full-time basis or part-time basis. As a chair, can serve on full-time basis or part-time basis. As a chair, which is your personal opinion, and you are entitled to it.
Thank you. I think Kalunda is, there are 4 questions on the floor.
Honorable Kalunda.
Honorable Kalunda, through the chair, I'll go with the first question about availability of resources. I'll approach it 2 ways. One, if in the event I'm approved and start on the 100 resort initiative and there are no funds, then there is one aspect of looking money within, if there are any supplementary budgets within the executive, and there's also looking outside. Within my tenure in the other organizations, have very good resource mobilization skills, and I'm sure there are partners we can tap outside there who are really, we have universities, the UN organization who are really willing to support HR related initiatives. So that is one. Number 2, there is also the issue, and I'm a great advocate on the use of man hours. We may not need to get anything outside our salary and outside the 8 hours allocated per day actually to achieve some of these things, because these are desk service charters. What service charters have been launched in different departments, in different units. We'll be looking service charters. What service charters have been launched in different departments, in different units. We'll be looking at the results of clean payroll audits, you know, the famous ghost workers in this country. We'll also be looking, like I said, within my 100 days I would have done as HR satisfaction levels. So we are looking at that satisfied staff working for the count. So those are some, just a few, and also the performance achieved targets that were set out, that the activities and the targets that were set out to be achieved either quarterly, annually or semi-annually have been achieved. Those are some of the benchmarks I'll be looking at. Fourth, and I'm looking at now the issue of the full-time and half-time, is this is a relative question, which I'll also look at it relatively in terms of what are the deliverables that are on the table. We have the roles of the board. We have what is at stake. We have, within the 100 days, we have set up a work plan. How heavy is it? How loaded is it? How many people do we need on board? Then this now will determine.
Welcome once more, Mr. Kasamba.
Thank you.
Welcome once more, Mr. Kasamba.
Thank you.
I have a few questions. What specific mechanisms do you wish to employ to ensure that the perceived marginalization and staffing patterns is balanced? I would also like to hear, as you speak on the WD, we have been receiving petitions as an assembly from a group of PWDs because they have not at the number of people or personnel they expect to be in our staff establishments in our ECD teachers and trainers. We understand there has been employment more. Do you think this is achievable? And the motivation levels, I don't know if in your term as the time you have interacted with the government system as the advisor to the governor, if you have been able to understand the kind of challenges that our CTTI trainers are facing. As a board, do you think you can do something towards improving the situation, if you understand the situation? Thank you.
Honorable members, I get your question, Honorable Elizabeth Mutinda. You are asking the nominee, not the board. He is not yet in the board. It is his views and what he would, not what he will do. Otherwise, you will make him answer questions as if he's in office, which are compelling on his side and which are institutional. He should be given the liberty to give his opinion as to how he would wish or advise the matter to be dealt with, if given an opportunity or as at now.
Okay, yeah. If given the opportunity, if you actually understand the problem, the challenge there, if you don't, then it's okay. If given the opportunity, do you think you would do something to improve the situation? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think 4 questions from the member. I'll try to start by answering the issue about equity distribution. At people living with disability, gender. All this will be carried in that disparity dashboard, and then it will involve us when we are now doing. So basically, part of that question is really looking at mix and match and equity distribution matrix to determine that for it to inform us the forward operations. The second question looked at the government manifesto and the CDIP direction. One of the key things in the CIDP is about County Public Service Board engineering, and tied to the governor's manifesto, we are looking at the staff issues around promotion. It's something that is clear in the governor's manifesto. For many years, people have stagnated in many areas. This can be attributed to many factors, but I know one of the major factors that has been attributed is availability of finances for this. We are also talking about staff redesignation. I've just mentioned that we still have copy typists within our payroll, although they do other activities. We have designations like market attendant. I know sometimes they are involved in revenue collection, but you know, this is where we try to put in the governor's agenda. The issues around training based on needs, we are still evolving as humans and mankind, and there are new working environment, working technologies that our staff would really need to do advanced training. Again, this is an area where the governor will be looking at. And again, as part of growth and progression, issues around mentorship and coaching for our staff. So basically, that is how I'll be looking at the governor's manifesto and engineering in the county integrated development plan. Within my short period as a political advisor, I interacted with the ECD teachers and the CTTI colleges. One of the key things, a major challenge with now the teachers is most of the institutions now have one ECD teacher, whereas the requirement of the establishment would be two. But then when you look at now our wage bill, which mirrors almost the national wage bill, is way above the PFM Act ceilings of 35. So talking about now doubling that number or hiring more teachers become the same budget allocation. Issues about CCTIs, we are all aware that this was a collapsing institution, but now it's clear cut that is a government is a devolved. Now it's clear cut that is a government is a devolved function. I think we are seeing now regionalized areas, especially the management of these facilities in terms of the courses they are offering. Some of the courses are defunct, you know, leather tanning and leather technology, you know. I don't know when I last saw somebody trying to do the leather trade, which was common in the 1950s, 60s, almost to 80s. So again, is what courses are being offered. It's also good to note, Mr. Chair, that one of my consulting activities I did with United Nations for Children, UNICEF, was looking at what does the young Kenyan now require in terms of training, because there was a feeling that we don't have now trained masonry, plumbers and all that, because the youth we have now actually staff promotion, performance contracting, and discipline. That's where it falls. Having worked again in the public sector as a chief officer, the major challenge with the disciplinary processes is the lack of documentation of processes and no adducement of the evidence that is required to really accuse someone or not accuse someone. So basically, we are looking at a process where we will try to rejuvenate and re-energize and position the accounting officers, which are the CEOs in that department. For them to bring up a case, then they need to have, add evidence. So it is part of the mentorship and coaching we are talking in the engineering that you are actually placed in that position, and for you to carry out some of these things, these are the kind of protocols that have to be followed before you file any case. And number two is also the conclusion of these cases that in many instances, and also we worked with within the short period I was a peer, I also worked with the water boards. And some of the cases are still pending for 2 to 3 years. So as a board, we'll be looking at, if approved, I want to be careful with the chair.
Yes.
That I'm not acting as the chair of the board, but if approved, this is something that the board will really put some more weight and more. So the structures and
to ensure meritocracy while also promoting. That's one of the question. The other question I want you to answer, and it's more practical because it's happening on the ground. Makueni County uses more than 40% of what we get to allocated to health. Our hospitals, most of them are being run by hospital contracted locally. Locally, hospital contracted staff, trained, but they are being paid a third of what those who are P&P are earning. Yet those are the story on such staffs, and recently on such staffs, and recently the board employed those who are on contract to permanent. Do you have a plan to absorb those who are in hospital contracts to fill those positions to be under contract, which is better? Because what was happening, the contracts given by the board are a bit better, but what the hospital is offering. And there is also, we have staffs who are being paid below the minimum wage bill. Recently, when we went around with the Senate Advisory Committee, we met some people who are earning below that. What's the role of this board in advising our hospitals to pay people within the criteria? We are putting a lot of money in our hospitals, but if we are going to run people who are already discouraged, the board must come in to find out a lasting solution, to find whether you can be able to observe those people on contract or give a minimum guide what to pay a clinical officer, a nurse, a lab technologist. Because if you leave it to the board, to the local hospital boards, they are giving it below. And you can imagine if you are serving the same hospital, comparing with a permanent staff who is earning 3 times you, how do you expect that person to really give their time? And I'll request you to answer that practically and how you will handle that. The other point I want to hear is your position on leave of absence. Because we know in Makueni region we had conflicting issues because we had staffs who had been on leave of absence from the other region and they were reinstated in their jobs. And they are working. While those who wanted to have a leave of absence within this from 2022,
They were denied. We need a clarity and know the position you take on that if you are made the chairman, if you succeed in this position. Because we cannot have a conflicting situation where the board contradicts what is practically being practiced in everywhere, even at the national. The other question, finally, I would wish to hear, how do you intend to deal with the cases of ghost workers, absenteeism, and nepotism in county employment? Not forgetting, there was also another question I was to ask. Recently we had surgeons, not surgeons, consultants, top consultants in our hospitals resigning and going elsewhere. Top consultants. The board would adamantly refuse to give them a top position like job group S while they are being given by other counties. If the board would say they would not be able to give them direct because there must be methods of earning that. But this is a person who is saving the county millions of shillings. So because of that patience, we lost several top consultants and they were employed elsewhere. Radiologists, consultant radiologists who could have saved us a lot of money. We do not understand why the board will not see it that way. We would want to hear, would you consider, when we have such top employees who are saving this country and saving our people a lot of money, being given the position they deserve? Because if you don't, they'll be given by another county and you go back to square zero. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chair. I think I'll unpackage the 4 questions from the member. The first one is about meritocracy and inclusivity in recruitment. In all fairness, given the opportunity, we'll be able to run a board that is devoid of nepotism and making sure that recruitment are competence based. And one of the key things is really looking at technical competence based interviews when recruiting. And one of the key things we'll be looking at is how to even do online questionnaires, because if you do online questionnaires with a dashboard, you are also trying to eliminate the human error in the scoring, and even doing psychometric.
For who just came 2 years outside, that shows we are not protecting our people. We need to hear those staff. That shows we are not protecting our people. We need to hear those staffs are waiting and they are listening to this interview. How the board will handle them. How the board will be, whether they are going to work with a lot of vigor and strength or whether they will have hope. So look straight to a chairman and tell us that these staffs will be having more points when they come to recruitment because they have been earning. They must have earned. They have served it for several years, being paid nothing. So when an employment opportunity comes, how will you put them? How will you place them? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Mbalu. Looking at the passion with that question, I would be facing you, but since you have directed that I see the chair, I would be happy to look at. One of the key things is I will try to start by addressing the challenges facing the County Public Service Board during recruitment. Issues around nepotism. I had already alluded to the issues about political interference and political influence, issues around corruption, issues around technical will need not an hour or even 2 hours will be maximum, because a consultant at the job group is a specialized treatment. One, they may have 1 or 2 clinics per week to do in the referral hospital. They may not function at level 2s, they may not function. So this person, you are hiring a consultant at job group S with those many shillings, available time 2 hours per week or 2 hours per day, as opposed to the number. So again, this is the workload analysis, which is really an aspect of the board to advise the executive, and also the executive really to define.
Can I clarify?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chair, allow me. A radiologist who is able to save us millions of shillings, save lives, because if we do not have one here, we'll have to borrow from other countries. Our people will spend more money. These are consultants levels, which if you do not have, you keep sending people to Nairobi, to Machakos. That is to say, that is a person who is needed here. And even up to today, we still don't have our service. We are seeking services from consultants out, and we are paying a lot of money. While if we stayed, it will save us that much money we are saying. We may not need to compare. We need to see the seriousness of it, because when our patients are being taken for MRI, CT scans, and we need somebody to interpret those things, we have to find one. That's why I'm saying it's not just a normal person. The question is, do we leave that and then pump money to Nairobi and send our people to Kenyatta, to Machakos? Those are the issues.
Not really. Chair, I think for me, I said is really a scenario mapping where we have to look at the both benefits from all sides. I've been a chief officer, I've run an hospital. Sometimes we may have that senior radiologist, but you may have not the negatives for the machine in the X-ray. So the radiology is there, but the procurement process for maybe the X-ray slides takes 3 or 4 months. So that person is here, and then there are other compounding factors. That's why I say, as a county public service board, it's not a yes or it's not a no. It is really a scenario mapping to see what is best for the people of Makueni County. If the scenario says we do radiologists, consultants, oncologists, we will employ. If the scenario mapping says we employ nurses at various levels, or clinical officers, or radiotherapy, we will do the best as advised. And I said one of the key things and one of the key function of the board is actually to advise the executive on issues around management. And now that leads me to the leave of absence. I know the case you are mentioning is
nominated to serve. Now, for purposes of achieving the results that you have indicated, in hospital, in health, in agriculture, all officers, low cadre, higher cadre, then what would, in hospital, in health, in agriculture, all officers, low cadre, higher cadre, then what would be your personal opinion?
Chair, my personal...
Because it's public knowledge that leave of absence may not. That doesn't matter. Delivery and the management of the service, because the person of Kiilu, delivery and the management of the service, because the person of Kiilu is appointed to an office as a chair of the board. So you can't divorce a personal opinion, experience opinion, professional opinion. That's why you have a CV rating to almost is it 25 years in public sector. So the question is, what would be your opinion?
Yeah,
Encourage others too, not defining that case.
yeah, I
If
think
you are to sit and recruit, considering now the job ahead of you, the question is, where would be your projection?
I think, Chair, my personal opinion on this matter of leave of absence is one. They not approved of the
Contracted staffs, and some are employing them very low. The board had its own officers who had been employed on contract, and they are pegged a bit higher. Your advisory on this is very important as a board, because I do not expect the board within a Makueni County Service Board to keep quiet and assume everything is okay while people are crying. Do you have advisory role on issues affecting members employed by our hospitals, locals, and anything to do with the county government of Makueni?
I think I get you.
Just a minute. Did you indicate that you are chief officer for health at some point?
Yes, actually.
It is not. Is it indicated in the CV?
Should.
Because I gather between you also and the member, you are enjoying the discussion on health and how to resolve health. Perhaps you have been there before and also find it very easy to swim. Is it indicated? We will check. Well, it is important for us to know whether it was indicated in your application.
Yeah,
Application to the selection panel.
we'll check.
We will check that. But then let us conclude so that we don't dwell into the operational issues of every sector. We just pick a few examples. Yes, the question on health. But I got what Honorable Badu is asking is it that the board has engaged officers at a lower scale and others on contract, or hospitals?
The hospitals.
Hospitals have engaged
At very
practitioners
Yes.
on. So those are hospital board employed officers.
Yes, I want to know the advisory from his part. Because the
Ma-
board.
No, it's also fair. I have a duty to put the candidates on the dock for you, but also I have a responsibility to protect the candidates. Now, these are officers employed by hospital board, not county public service board, and we have others. By the county public service board on contract basis. So in that
In a facility called in Nguni would even be different enumerated from a watchman in Tongoni. So they are even not even below the wage bill, but the same people doing the same function are enumerated differently from different boards. From the Public Service Commission or the ASARA on how to advise the boards or the hospital board, because these are employees of the boards. But here, you see taken to court for Mine would be advisory, and I'll seek that advisory and be able to share. Thank you very much. Working with the county executive and treasury to increase on source revenue is also a way of beating up about the mathematics around the wage bill. Now this now brings issue about getting more staff on the need basis. But one of the key things that will be keen is the workload analysis. How much is going to the wage and how much is going to the developmental areas. Thank you very much.
Chair, the nominee has repeatedly quoted the 100 days. 100 days repeatedly. I think Chair, I don't know if the nominee is willing, if successful, to come back to this assembly and give us a report on the 100 days achievements on all what you have promised to this committee. Thank you.
Thank you.
There is a question.
Thank you. I think
whatever commitment and the words that you're making here, they are on answered record, and you have confirmed. So in 100 days time, for whatever reason, if you are not considered well and good, you consider that the member is requesting that to require a statement. Now, if that statement does not align to your commitments, then you will have lied.
Sometimes before you are shortlisted, it takes more than 8 months, sometimes even a year before the shortlisting happens. So how are you going to beat that before the shortlisting happens? So how are you going to beat that kind of deadline? Because I remember in the previous board, the former one, the first board, we used to have advertisements, and within a month or so, everything is cleared. People get their regrets, others get appointments. But with the current board and the experience we have now, it's taking more than even a year, sometimes 2 years before that is expedited. So I wish you can linking that with full-time versus part-time, so that you can help us with that. Then number 2, Mr. Kasamba, we may approve you as an assembly. Then within 1 year or so, you resign to run for a political office. That can be a big fear for this committee before we recommend to the assembly. Are you, if we give you this position, are you willing to serve through out the position unless you have other issues except the political aspirations to run for a position in 2027? Or maybe through maybe a by-election or something, something like that. Are you willing to conclusively say you want to serve as the chairman of this board without having other political aspirations? And you see, you've had competitors before, and maybe they are prospective competitors. When they see your name, they think maybe he's coming here to get some clout, then he goes back and runs for a position. Sometimes I'm very proactive. My mind is jogging a lot, so
Okay.
that can be. Then the last one, Chair,
So-
when he was giving us our biodata, he did not tell us his religious beliefs, maybe marital status. Those are the things also we expect this committee to look at and make a recommendation, because it helps us in making this report. Thank you very much, Honorable Chair, and for asking many questions.
Proceed.
Thank you very much. I think the first question is about the timeliness. The service charter for the Public Service Board describes the kind of activities the board will be engaged into, and more so on the timelines. And even if they are robust or they are not, accurate, one of the key things is when the new board is to really get what happens, when, where, how. As I said, my specialty is in M&A with a focus to epidemiology, and time is always a factor. When my many years in work is with the Red Cross, time is of essence. When an incident happens, you delay, we lose lives. So it may be losing life, but we may be losing opportunities. For me, time management is of essence, and I can assure this committee that things will be on time. You have heard the first commitment is 100 days will be submitting a report to this house. Number two is the political affiliation. You know, Mr. Chair, many years ago there was a matatu that used to go to our place, and it was written the front has no honor. As we sit here now, my full commitment is to this board, but nobody knows what happens tomorrow. I cannot stay here and say whatever happens, I'll stick to this position. But for me, the best of my knowledge, and with all my abilities and knowledge as of today, 4th of November 2025, I'm committed to the full course of 6 years to serve the people of Makueni in this position. And also that ties to my faith that I'm saved, I don't lie. So get that word from me that I'm really committed to this process. I'm married to one wife and 4 kids, 2 boys, 2 girls, and we are a member of the African Inland Church in Kenya.
Chair, one last one. I don't,
Supplementary question? Proceed.
he didn't mention about his net worth. I think in the form he filled, he wrote 1 million, which I don't think he's worth 1 million. From what I know about him.
Allow me to shed more light on item number 23, sources of income. List sources and amounts of all income received during calendar year preceding your nomination and in the current calendar. You've only given us one item, which is 1,032,000 shillings monthly. So preceding your nomination, you have not given us. However, below there is a statement of net worth. State your financial net worth, which is 78 million. Now, since this is a statement of fact, what it means is that he has salary as the only source of income. No chicken, no goat, no kiosk, no taxi, no other business. Because the only income he has is salary, and his net worth is 78. Now what this means is that Honorable Elizabeth, for whatever reason, if he is appointed, you only need to substitute his salary of 1 million monthly. It is not the monthly, I think this is annual. The 1 million is compounded salary of 1 year. So all you need is a compounded salary for the board, so his net worth after 1 year should not be above 78 million plus the monthly salary, because according to this statement, there is no other source of income. And what that means and why it is public, so that if you find him with an extra income, he has to explain the source, because it is not his salary, and at the time of vetting, he declared 78. So that's what really means. And why this is important is because in public service you have to declare, so that subsequently we can, within 2 or 3 years, if we do a social financial audit, then that must be commensurate with your incomes. So Honorable Mutindi is indicating that you have net salary of 1 million and statement net worth of 78 million. And therefore that's no other source of income.
I think I may have now computed the net worth, including the other source of, because it's out of the net worth that you get the other revenues coming through.
So you have not indicated the others under 23, but you've compounded them
Under 19.
So that then there's 78 Public Health Officers Association,
Yes.
valid?
Yes.
Okay. I've one more question to you. Honorable Kaido,
Yes.
what is interesting you, because it's not the governor in this position, as a person, why public service board chairperson and not any other position in public service? Why are you interested in this? You remember your interest came first.
Yes.
Yes.
Chair.
Don't tell us there are problems in Makueni that you want to solve.
Chair, I think.
Makueni has most learned people.
Yes.
So anyone else have the capacity and the ability to resolve these matters. But now, what is the personal drive to desire this opportunity to serve as a chairperson of the public service board?
I think the personal interest is not the main issue. Private sector, I've realized there is a big discrepancy in terms of achieve that increased production within the workforce.
That's all?
Yep.
Very well. Honourable members, any supplementary question? No. There being none, I have some directions to make here that the certificate of good conduct that you provided with us is dated 2005 January. That certificate ought to be up to date. So, to have reviewed your application as at when you applied for this job, so that then it is up to when I submitted my application, then this year it cleared me. And therefore, we'll give you the next 7 days to produce evidence of application of the same. The assembly the committee will be considering to compile a report on your nomination within the next 14 days. And therefore, you must within the next 7 days or reasonably possible to submit a valid certificate of good conduct. Validity being the period from which the advert was placed and when you made your application. That is what we consider as a valid. Yes. Honourable members, that marks the end of our engagement with Mr. Kilu on the position of the chairperson. Before you are running away with a question not answered. Full-time or part-time?
I answered that question and I'll repeat.
Really? Full-time or part-time?
I said is relative depending on the deliveries, but I'll prefer full-time if that is the question now for me.
Don't speak for others.
For me, yes, I'll prefer full-time.
For you as a person?
Yes.
Now, for you as a person, the chairperson is not himself. The chairperson is the vision bearer, is a leader. So what team are you inspiring? A handball coach would say that I want a mix of tall and short, or I would want tall players so that I'm able to score and energetic. I don't want people who are weakly. So what would you think would be best, considering what Honorable Kalunda has indicated? Delayed interviews, meaning that if it's part-time and you are a lecturer in the university, then which university will allow you to be here for 5 days? Doesn't work. So you have 2 days for Makueni and 3 days for the university, and therefore the output is compromised. Now that's one of the things that I think Honorable Kalunda by implementation has said. So what would be your preference as a chair to pursue or lead a board that is on full-time basis or part-time? I'm aware of the liberty of others to choose what they want, but what is the decision of the wisdom or aspiration of the chair?
This year I'll be looking at a mix of both full-time and part-time.
Why mix?
I think because some of the roles that a decision is made today, there may need some 1 or 2 days for actual activities before the end product is realized for either approval or no disapproval. So it is something that cannot be on a daily basis throughout, because there are activities within the board that will require more time with the secretariat before they come back with preliminary or final reports.
And I Court in Nyeri challenged the part-time practice for members of public boards who are public officers. Because if it's part-time, you are working on a public office and you're supposed to be working from 8 to 5, Monday to Friday. But somehow you will find 2 days, a Thursday and Friday, to work for a public service board from 8 to 5. So you're consuming hours for another institution to work for another public institution and compensated at the same time. These are not BOMs. In BOMs, you attend BOMs over the weekend, and County Public Service Board doesn't sit over the weekend. And that explains why we don't have a governor who's part-time. You don't have a county executive committee member who are part-time. You do not have a speaker who is part-time. MCAs are not part-time. Public officers are not part-time. Then why would one want to run the service that drives the entire government, and the citizens are on full-time, on morning to the evening, they are in their farm, in their shop, it's full-time except on Sunday, so to speak. In fact, they are more committed than us. Then why part-time? Part-time means that you're giving part of your time, and the rest of the time you're doing other things. That's my challenge to you. And I want an answer. I want an answer. With that background, out of the experience that I have, and those facts. Because part-time means that you are not available from Monday to Friday. You only paid on the basis of the days when you appear. Meaning that you may choose to work for 4 days in a month if you're part-time. Any problem? No. Perhaps that person has a better income elsewhere.
I think, Chairman, I'm fully briefed and fully advised. I'll take the challenge. But as I said, I may not be in a position to really give a direction. I've just given my personal opinion and really the observation based on what is really going to be done on the ground and the deliverables that the board have to achieve, given that there is also a secretariat to do the day-to-day activities.
Thank you very much. That marks the end of this discussion. This is a vetting process. The county assembly, your appointment, performance.
Thank you, Chair.
And will not be used for or against you, however good they are.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to say thank you for the team for giving me this opportunity to have a discussion on the vetting process. Asante sana.
Thank you so much, Sergeant Adams. You will. Show the